Hi guys, it's Panda from Panda Creates Tutorials, and today we're going to be making this awesome coaster set with the stand. Now, the reason why I'm doing this tutorial is because LBB Resin in Australia is currently doing a pre-order for this particular mold. I didn't get mine from her. I got mine from another supplier over in America months and months ago. So I thought I might put together a set of coasters and show everybody what the finished product looks like, and then maybe that might encourage them to get in on the pre-order for this mold. Now, as you can see, I just want to mention first and foremost, Joe actually told me that hers are going to be blue, not yellow. So mine are yellow. If you participate in the pre-order for these molds, yours are going to arrive blue, but they do come in two parts. So the first mold is the coasters, right? So you get 4 coasters, and then the second mold is this one. So you can see these 2 bits here are going to be the little legs that clip into these points here, and then you're going to end up, I don't really want to bend my mold, but the legs are going to go up through these bits here, and then obviously your slots are going to be where you put your coasters, and this will then stand on your desk with your coasters sitting in the mold. Hopefully I'm making sense, but by the end of the video it definitely will, because you'll see the finished product. But it is a 4 coaster set and stand mold. Now I am going to be using the Platinum Super Clear for these, because they are coasters. No food contact, like no food or direct drink contact is going to happen with these, because you sit your glasses on top of them. So I am going to use a casting resin rather than a food safe coating resin for these ones. But it does take a lot of epoxy. For me, for what I do, it does use a lot of epoxy. Obviously people that make like the big river tables or do huge pours like that, this is going to be nothing to them. But if you're a small fry crafter like I am, where you only do like cups and coasters and cheese boards and stuff, this does dip into your resin quite a bit. So I did write it down so that I wouldn't forget. The resin that I'm using is a 2-to-1 ratio resin, so please keep that in mind. Always make sure you follow your resin manufacturer's instructions. Sometimes they're a 1-to-1 ratio and sometimes they're a 2-to-1 ratio. Mine is a 2-to-1 ratio, and all up I'm going to be making up 345 mils of epoxy. So that ends up being 230 mils of part A and 115 mils of part B, and all of that together we're going to make, well, it comes to 345 mils, but give or take you're going to be mixing up about 350 mils of epoxy. So if you are running low on resin, this is probably not a project you want to dive straight into. Please keep in mind the amount of epoxy that it does use before you start your project, so you're not disappointed. So the ones that I'm going to be making today, the idea that I have in my head is we're going to put like a purple pigment in the middle, followed by a purple glitter, and then I want to have silver flakes around the outside, and then the purple glitter will be in the stand, and then the legs I'm going to do in a silver foil. So today for the middle I'm going to be using this beautiful passion purple from Together We Create, mixed with, this is Freddo from Sparkles by Carrbee Designs. And then we're going to finish it off with LBB Resin's very own silver flakes. So let's get started. I'm going to go and mix my resin, and then we will proceed. Okay, so I have mixed my epoxy, and we're going to make some coasters. Now, as I mentioned, just realizing I've got some silver flake on my mold and some mica powder, so we're going to clean them in a second. But all up you want to make up 345 mils of epoxy. Now for the resin that I'm using, which is the Super Clear, it is a 2-to-1 ratio. So I mixed up 230 mils of part A, 115 mils of part B. Those two together make 345 mils. And then the way that it works out, give or take, each coaster uses up 60 mils. So just in this mold you have 240 mils worth of epoxy, and then in this one here, this main bit takes about 70 mils, and then each end takes 15. So 15 and 15 is 30, 30 plus 70 is 100. 100 plus 240 is 340. So I mixed up 345 because that's how I could work out my maths doing the 2-to-1 ratio. So that is how we're going to proceed today. So I'm going to pour the coasters first, and then I'm going to move you up a little bit so that you can see me pour the stand. But I've gone ahead, after I mixed the 340 together, I then split it up into my cups. So this is the Passion Purple Mica powder from Together We Create. We have the Silver Flakes from LBB Resin. And then this beautiful mix, which is called Freddo from Sparkles by Carrbee Designs. And all of that together is what we're using today to make this coasters. So we're going to get started now. Moving everything out of my way so that I can actually do this for you. It's probably not a good idea using duct tape and gloves, but we'll see how we go. To clean my molds, I use duct tape or 100-mile-an-hour tape, fold it over for the sticky side, and then I just use the sticky side to pick up, I'll show you, I had mica powder here, to pick up anything that might be on the molds or that I might have dropped while I was mixing, because I had a little bit of silver flaking on there, silver foil, whatever they're called. So clean your molds first, make sure they're free of dust or pet hair or your hair or anything else. From there, to make sure that I don't get any bubbles on the underside of my molds, I always spray my molds with alcohol. Now this is in a little isocol bottle that I've had since my kids were really little. I've now repurposed it. I just like that it's got a little spray bit on it. But I think the alcohol that's in there at the moment is the 99.9 Artist's Choice one. So I just keep refilling my bottle. But I lightly spray my molds just to give it a little bit of a coating before I start to pour. And I found that since I've started doing that, I very, very rarely have problems with holes and stuff like that because the bubbles get trapped up from underneath. So the way that I want to do this is do pigment, then glitter, then foil. So I think what I'm going to do is start with the foil around the outside first. All the way around. Then I'm going to do my pigment in the middle. And I'm only putting down the tiniest little bit of epoxy at the moment because I just kind of want to get everything where it needs to be. And then we'll go through and fill it. So I'm going to go through with my Freddo now. Do that around the pigment. There's one! Okay. So I am using the reusable stirring sticks from LBB Resin. I'm quite in love with them. My waste has come down quite considerably since using paddle pop sticks to using these. So when you're finished, you can just wipe them down with a baby wipe and you're ready to use them next time. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the Passion Purple into the middle of this one. But that is full. That's chockers. Oh no, I just dropped some in there. That's okay. Alright, so I think I'm going to do them one at a time instead of doing all of them, like all the silver, then all the purple. Just because the shape of them, well, that was a big glob of silver flakes. It doesn't give me a lot of time to use all three. So we are going to go one by one. I did this next, didn't I? And then all of my Freddo. And I've actually got, if you can see, a bit of silver, big clump of silver flakes sticking up there. I'm going to push that down, try and spread that out a bit. Okay. A little bit more Freddo. And then some more of the passion purple in the middle. If you have never used foil flakes before, drop a comment right now and let me know, because I have been thinking about doing a tutorial on different mediums that you can use in resin. Mediums being things like glitter or pigment powders or foil flakes, acrylic paints, alcohol inks, you name it. Just doing one big tutorial showing you the different effects that you can make using different mediums. So if you haven't used foil flakes before, I'm saying foil flakes because they are in this video. If you haven't used foil flakes before, drop a comment right now and let me know. I'm just trying to gain, just kind of putting feelers out to see if there'd be any interest in a video like that once the new year comes. I am currently putting together a video at the moment which has like all of my Christmas commissions. I'm doing a big Christmas order collage just to show you guys what I've been up to the past couple of months while I haven't been super active on my channel. I do plan to be a lot more active come the new year, but as any crafters watching would know, this time of year is just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So I'm finally coming to the end of my, isn't that so pretty? I've not had that passion purple. Sorry, off on another tangent now. I've not had that passion purple for very long, but it is becoming one of my favorites quite quickly. It's just so pretty. But yes, I'm finally hoping with, I'm getting the usual last minute orders coming in, but I'm almost at the end of my Christmas commissions for this year. So I'm quite excited because I've been quite busy this year. This Christmas has been the busiest Christmas I've had so far. But there are our coasters. Now I can see some bubbles starting to rise. Once we're finished recording, I will go back through with the alcohol spray that we saw once everything's settled and they've all risen, and give them a quick spritz again. I don't like using any kind of heat where my silicone molds are concerned, but if you were going to use like a heat gun, please don't use a butane torch. Use your hairdryer or an embossing gun like the heat guns or something like that. Don't use a torch anywhere near your silicone molds because they can damage them, and then you've gone to all this effort to make these pretty coasters and you stuff it. So make sure you keep away from an open flame where silicone molds are concerned. I'm actually going to top this one up just a little bit more with the silver flakes, just so it's a little bit more full. And then they are our coasters. So I'm going to move you up just a little bit. Now you can see just how messy my workspace is and how dirty our mold is. So we're going to give that a quick wipe, an alcohol wipe, oh my word, a baby wipe. And while I do this, I just want to, because I should have said it at the beginning of the tutorial, when you are working with resin, you won't ever see me wearing my respirator mask when I'm doing videos because it makes it quite hard to hear me. Although, depending on your opinion, that might be a good thing to not be able to hear me. But it does make it quite hard for me to talk and be heard clearly where I'm wearing my respirator mask. But when you are working with resin, especially when you're working with resin for long periods of time, like for hours at a time or long term, please remember safety first. When I say that, I mean for every time that you use resin, you should be using safety goggles. you should be using a half-face respirator mask that has the interchangeable filters. Mine is a 3M branded one. I got mine from Bunnings a couple of years ago. But they do have the interchangeable filters, and Bunnings also sells the filters for when you need to change them out. And gloves. Always, always, always wear gloves. Okay? So now that I've done my little safety spill, we're going to pour this. Now, I want... These two ends are the leg stands, and then this is the bit that actually holds the coasters. So I want to try and get... I'm not sure I'm going to have enough silver left for my legs, which was the original plan. So the legs are now going to be passion purple. And my glitter is in my way. Move. Okay. I'm left-handed, guys, so it's awkward enough without putting things in my way. There's one pretty purple leg. There's the second. Just going to fill this one up just a little bit more. And this one needs it too. But not so much that I'm going to... if you can see, it's actually sitting on like this old black mat. I was smart enough this time to put my mat down before I poured. So now all I've got to do is lift my mat to move it to my drying stand, like my drying area. Okay, now I'm going to move you out of my way. Let's just dump all this silver in the middle here. So there's not tons of it left. So maybe it can just be a little accented bit. And now the glitter. Excuse me, I think we're going to end up needing the passion purple for this as well. I should have mixed up more glitter and less pigment, but that's okay. I haven't used this mold heaps of times. The couple of times that I have used it, I've only done, well, the first time it was just one big colour, and the second time it was glitter and micas. So I've never had to split it over 3. But that's okay, we're experimenting. So we've got our silver flakes here. We've got our glitter here. And now hopefully I will have enough passion purple left to fill the mold. And if not, then when it sets, I will have to add a part to the video where I just add more. But we'll see what happens. I don't know if anybody else ever has this problem, but I either, it's like when I cook pasta or rice, right? I either don't make enough or I make enough to feed a village. Same deal with resin. I either make enough, or I don't make enough, or I make enough to pour the same mold 5 times. And I think this time and the stickler of it is I actually did make sure I measured, like, because I have a little notebook that I have my, like, I keep a record of all my molds in and how much epoxy it takes to fill the molds, and it did say 340, so I made 345 because that's how I worked out my maths. So I think maybe I might have put a little bit too much in here, but because I wrote down 340, I thought, oh, I better double check that because I haven't used this mold in a couple of months. And I actually filled the molds. Oh, here's a good trick. If you want to figure out how much epoxy a mold holds, I fill mine with water and then I syringe out the water 10 ml at a time. And that's how I work out how much epoxy I need for the molds. So I even did that just to double check, and it came up as, well, it came up as 342. So I thought that's close enough to 340. I'm still a bit short, but only slightly, and it's only in this section here. So what I think I might do, and I will do this on camera, is when, or maybe I won't. No, I will. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Because this is a little bit low, but because it has all the colors where I want it already, what I'm going to do is mix up a little bit more epoxy once this is cured. Pour this over the top before I demold it. Let that cure completely, and then we can demold it and put it all together. So I was going to say the next time that you see me will be when we're ready to demold and put this together, but that is now not true. So the next part will be where I'm adding the clear layer to this, and then after that will be where we put it all together. Okay guys, we are back. This has cured enough now to touch, but it's not cured completely. I have gone ahead and mixed up another 30 mils of epoxy. So because I'm using super clear, the platinum super clear, that was 20 mils of part A and 10 mils of part B. I'm not sure if it's going to take all of that, but I thought better to be safe than sorry, especially since, you know, we've already made a boo-boo by filling this. Again, I'm using the LBB Resin silver foil flakes. I also have a little assistant here with me because I'm recording this after dinner. So he asked if he could please pour it in, and I don't see a problem with that. As always, he's wearing his safety gear, he's got his little mask on, and he's got his gloves on. So I'm going to slide out of the way for now, and then we're going to let him do his little pour. Okay, thank you very much, Ryder, for your assistance there. I'm just going to use my little stirring stick now just to move the epoxy around into all of the little corners. Like so. And that is now a lot more filled up than it was. But probably still not as full as I would like it to be if I was doing this for a customer. But we still have a little bit of room there. So that leads me to conclude that possibly mixing up 50 mils or 60 mils even and doubling that would have been the smarter way to go, but that's okay. This is not for a paying customer, so this doesn't bother me so much. But please don't blow the glove up like a balloon. The microphone can pick up what you're doing. Sorry guys. We're playing with latex gloves in the background here while I'm talking. Originally we mixed up 345 mils of epoxy. I've just added another 30 to this bit here, and if it was a paying customer, I would probably double that and put another 30 in, just to make sure that it is, or maybe not even 30, maybe just 20, because it is coming very close now, but I like to fill my molds to where they are even with the top of the mold. So I would probably put, I'd probably mix up another 30 mils if this was for a customer. So with that in mind, we mixed up 340 mils to start. I estimated that I would only need 340. I don't know what I was smoking when I did that, because 340 is what's written down in my notebook from the last time that I did this mold. And then I went ahead and measured again with my syringe and my water, and I came to 342. So I'm not quite sure what's gone wrong there. But if you were to do this mold, I would recommend you make up 400 to 420 mils, and then if you have a little bit left over, you can use it for another mold. But I suppose it's always better to mix up a little bit more than a little bit less, so you don't have to do what we just did then. And I'm just playing with it now and trying to move these silver flakes around a little bit more, just so they're not so clumped up in the one spot. But now that that's done and it's filled up a little bit more and it's actually going to support the weight of the coasters, we're going to let this cure now, and then we will be back to demold and put it all together. Okay, and we are back and we are ready to demold. Now originally I was going to demold these in one turn, wait a couple more days for it to fully harden up, and then put it together, because I didn't want to go putting it together while it was still a little bit flimsy. However, because it's Christmas and I am very busy at the moment, these have actually been sitting in the mold for about 4 days now. Between when we poured the excess on here and filming now, it's been about 4 days. So these are well and truly cured and set now, so we're going to go ahead and do it all in one lot. So I do apologize for the delay on this video, especially around Christmas time. I try to squeeze these recordings in where and when I have the time to do them, so I do apologize in advance that it's taken me a lot longer than I anticipated to get this out, but we're going to go ahead and demold and construct this now. We're going to do the coasters first, just because they're straightforward and they're coasters. I'm just going to move this up and around, just to give you a better view. Okay, so I'm just going to work around the edges. Now usually with my molds I flip it down and then I peel them off. I get a bit worried about the edges on these. Oh, look at that. So that's the underside and that's the top side. They're pretty. Yeah, I get a little bit worried about the spiky edges. I don't want to snap any of the tips off, so we're going to do it this way. Here's the next one. And I'm just working the mold around those edges so that it pops out nice and clean. There's the next one, and the last one, and I'm going to put that aside. So there are, try and fit them all on. Can I do it? There's our coasters. Okay, so now they will sit in our holder. So I'm going to pop the legs out first. There's one leg and the second leg. And if you can see, when we were mixing epoxy to add the extra layer on the top here, I did get a tiny little silver flake that's now stuck and is part of the leg. So there's our two legs, and then same deal, I'm just going to work the mold. I should move that camera up so you can actually see what I'm doing. Working it around the outside to just loosen it, And then I am going to flip this one and do it this way, just to get these bits in the middle out. And that is our underside. So that's where we filled in the silver flakes, and that's the side that we're going to use. So making sure, obviously when you pour your molds, you're going to have one side that's got the edges and one side that's nice and smooth. This is the side, the smooth side is the side that I'm going to use for the outside, so that the ugly bits go in the middle. Off camera I am going to go through and sand down the edges just so they're not as raised and as rough, but I'm not going to do that on screen because you guys are really just interested in seeing how it goes together. So the 2 holes on each side, obviously your legs go in. There's one side. And you got to do it. It's a little bit fiddly, this bit, right? They do fit in the holes, but you have to put them in the holes at the same time, evenly, otherwise they don't slot in. There we go. And push in. So once they're pushed in, you'll see that there's only a tiny little gap between the foot and the base, right? You want to push them in as far as they go, and they do stick out just a little bit through the top, as you can see. But there is, I'm just going to move, hang on. Let's give you guys a better view. There we go, move the mold out of the way. So there's our stand, and our coasters slot in like that. Ta-da! Oh. So there's the underside of our coasters, the top side of our coasters. They are, if you can see, they are different sizes, so really what I should be doing is putting them in order, shouldn't I? One going this way, 1, 2, and then the next small one, and then the last little one. Nope. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So there's the front of our coasters, the back side of our coasters, and they all sit together. Isn't that the coolest idea ever? So you can have your coasters, but instead of stacking them all on top of each other, if you want to go the extra mile, you can get the carrier for them as well. And then you have a beautiful set that's sitting on your coffee table, or your outdoors, like your sunroom table or anything like that. There is your coaster set. And that is the mold from LBB Resin. So just to, I'm going to leave these, where can I put these so you can still see them, I wonder? There. We'll slide them into that little hole there. Okay, so the mold, again, that is one part of the mold that comes with the stand and the legs for the stand. The other part of the mold is your 4 coasters. It does come in 2 parts. Whoops, sorry. It does come in 2 parts. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, mine are yellow because I got them from a supplier in America. When Jo put up the pre-order for these, the picture was yellow as well, but she since informed me that her supplier is actually making them in a nice light blue color. So if you do pre-order your molds won't be yellow, they will be blue, but otherwise they are exactly the same thing. I'm going to have to go and clean these now, but that is the mold. So if you have any questions for me personally, please leave them in the comments. Aren't they gorgeous? Or you can ask Jo directly, but I just thought I'd do a little demo just so you guys knew what you were getting. But there's the stand and the coasters. Once again, thank you so much for joining me, guys. We are a week out from Christmas, So very merry and safe Christmas to you all. I've got some big plans for 2021, but this will be my final upload for this will be my final upload before Christmas. I do have something planned for the week between Christmas and New Year's. So saying that this will be my last video before 2021 is a complete lie. But this will be my second last video for 2020 and my last video before Christmas. So I want to wish you all a very safe and Merry Christmas. Hopefully you're in an area where the restrictions have lifted a little bit so that you can spend time with your family. If not, just hang in there, guys. It's been a really rough year for everybody, but we've just got to stick together and stick through it, and make sure you're keeping safe during the holidays as well, and remembering to follow the guidelines so that we don't have to go back into lockdown. Otherwise, enjoy yourselves, guys, and I will see you very soon, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Bye!